umpire. Instead of INEC pronouncing, you see people who are number 4 or number 3 getting into an election at something, and you see people whose names were never in the ballot box. When the election is being contested, or the primary is contested, they are now getting into the platform. They are getting the tickets. How? And these things are being pronounced. So as we go into signing another one on Saturday, I think it's about the tracking of the words of the politicians, that they need to take it seriously, and there has to be trackers. There has to be a way where you bring them into justice. You have to have some making these pronouncements.
Okay, thank you, madam. Well said. Yeah. In fact, it's an expose. DIG Adeleke Adeika, I don't really envy you, considering the spate of violence that we're talking about, and the character of politicians that we parade, in the political arena. We all know the constraints of the Nigerian police in terms of challenges, in terms of the number of policemen that we have, in terms of funding the policemen, like equipping them properly to be able to discharge them. Now, how are you coping with all of this, with respect to the fact that, of course, in the next 10 days or thereabout, we are in for a general election?
Thank you. Like we've said, we are ready for the 2023 election. To the readiness of the police, we are ready for the election. There have been changed. People are on ground. New ones are going to come in, and we have special attention for the Southeast. And we are assuring Nigerians that we should not lose faith in this system.
DIG Adeyinka, thank you for your comments. Are you propounding that there should be some tolerable level of reported incidents of apparently election-related violence? There was a real-time postage, for instance, coming from somewhere in Southeast. A gentleman, I think CNPP or so, they were at a meeting, and they were reporting that they were being attacked, and some person that he might not leave that place alive. He lost his uncle, lost some other persons. Houses have been burnt. ANEC facilities are routinely burnt. In the northeast, we have had the violence. In the northwest, we have had the violence. And of course, what happened in Lagos? Some persons, because they were wearing the vest of a certain political party, they were assaulted, their windscreens were damaged, the videos were posted. Are these things that within tolerable limits? Or there could be a pointer to what might happen, because reference was made earlier to 2011. In 2011, let's remind ourselves, President Goodluck Jonathan, who was then the incumbent, contested an election and won. But he lost in some states, and that was where violence started from.
Thank you. There is no disturbance that is tolerable. We shouldn't have any disturbance, so to say. But is it possible for the Ethiopian society totally free of rancor? It's not possible. And that's why the security agencies, especially the police, that is the leading agencies around, when we have pockets of these incidences, they are reported, they are properly investigated. Like the issue of
challenges can be contained by the police. And we are all Nigerians, and we appreciate the police, and we also understand the challenges facing you. There are no two ways about the fact that the Nigerian police needs some kind of upgrade in terms of funding and equipping, because we see your men around the country. We see how they look and their operational tendencies and what have you. Well, we wish you well, and I also hope that some of your personnel assigned to the VIPs will also be as neutral as they should be, because what we have experienced in the past is that some of your personnel attached to VIPs tend to begin to believe in the ideology or philosophy of such person, and invariably give support that he can to such persons. Of course, we had the experience of a pastor that appeared in the pulpit with a gun. That is because the person that was...
Not just a gun, an
AK-47. And so on. It's because the man you posted there, of course, is already beginning to be the council, which means you are in touch with other political parties. Have you ever met, with an agenda to tackle utterances and the resultant effect of such utterances on the society?
Yeah, well, just like you have the National Peace Accord, it's a moral persuasion kind of thing, to the need to respect and also advance the cause of this country by ensuring peace, and our unity also. That's why the assemblage of the people you find at the Peace Accord represent the character of society. You see the clerics there, you see the businessmen there, you see elder statesmen there, you see, so that you will, by so doing, appeal, and try to say that we are one, regardless of what you may think. So politicians, yes, but again, like I said, you have to look at the politicians in Nigeria against these primordial, sentiments. This is why you find them when they come out. Yes, like I said, I will still mention it again. The primaries of some of the parties were based on these primordial sentiments, unfortunately. So when they are coming out, they see themselves as, warlords that are fighting. Yes, they will tell you it's Nigeria, but under whatever they're saying and the kind of tendencies you see in them does not in any way portray somebody who is really fighting for this country or is concerned about what Nigeria will be, after the elections. So this is why these are realities that we cannot run away from, and this is why, like we mentioned, that the police needs to do much more than what they are doing. We commend their effort. We are praying for them that God will continue to protect them. But this country is a big challenge when it comes to issue of unity, coming together, when it's issue of who presides over the resources of this country, and the fact that ourselves, Nigerians, we do not hold power to account. So people see it as an opportunity to now, take everything, if you like, give it to only their own people, more than others. They have advantage over, over others, like it has been playing out. So as politicians, yes, we are doing, and as IPAC, we are doing quite a lot in terms of, like I said, trying to see how can we even have a situation where we have a national unity government. What do I mean? That end of the day, every party, one way or the other, should have a say in what is happening. So Nigeria, it's a project, a democratic project in Nigeria, faces a lot of challenges for good reasons. Nigeria is the biggest thing on the continent of Africa, if you like, even in the world. And we have people that are envious of what God has given to us, even though we are not able to manage it well, to give us the benefits that are supposed to accrue to us.
Those envious people, Engineer Yaba, they are not the ones encouraging the political gladiators to foment the kind of trouble that is giving us concern for this conversation. Well, this is occurring within.
Exactly.
I'm sorry to interject, Chairman. Part of the peace accord was to say, focus on the campaign of issues.
Yeah.
Avoid hate speech.
Yeah.
Let's also shun fake news.
Yes.
Have we been able to achieve any of this? It wasn't the business of the peace, National Peace Committee to ensure that they will go. Members of the National Peace Committee were not to be on the horses themselves campaigning. If we recall, just last month, some weeks ago, the National Peace Committee, General Abdulsalami Abubakar and Bishop Hassan Kuka reinvited the political parties to say, look, it appears that you are drifting away from the terms of the peace accord. Yeah, that ordinarily should have been a sign of acute worry to any person to say, look, the political actors are misbehaving.
They even had statistics, of these violences and things like that happened. What happened in which state and by which party. They had it and they told us and they showed us what has happened. So peace accord, they are doing quite a lot. The committee is doing quite a lot. But there's a lot more to be done because
by whom?
By Nigerians as a whole, and of course the police, like you say, you don't want to put them on the spot, but unfortunately we can't mention any other agency than the police. We know there are inadequacies like you have mentioned, but even at that, we believe that it shouldn't be a normal thing with the immunity that governors have. The sort of things governors are doing does not in any way give people confidence that on the day of election this rule cannot, visit them with unnecessary torture or, intimidation or even killings, like it had happened before in the same river state that we mentioned here. So you can't behave like a lawless, in a constitutional, democracy as a lawless person and say, well, he has immunity, can be touched. So I think there's a challenge there, because immunity cannot be for you to go and upset the entire system of governance and then you go scot-free and wait for you. Maybe if you steal money, they can say, okay, wait. But when you kill people, when you obstruct the free flow of political activities, somebody somewhere should talk. And we are helpless, because you go to some venues where you want to campaign, they say no, you can't use the venue, and this is part of Nigeria. I remember the last week I was in Port Harcourt. We couldn't campaign in Port Harcourt. We had to go to some villages, to go and campaign. That is not what the democracy is all about. That's what we're aspiring to have. So if somebody can get away with that, how am I sure on the day of elections? How can my members be confident, or members of other political parties be confident to come out, to cast their vote?
Now you are coming to the issue, to the crux of the matter.
So that's why I'm saying that, we know the inadequacy of the police, but still, who do we look up to?
Yes. Thank you. Former Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Kaduna State, Mark Jacob. We'll bring you in one more time, because I'm happy you're also a lawyer. What we're seeing today could be said to be campaign of calumny, a campaign of character assassination, campaign of personality destruction, because of the languages that we're hearing from even sitting governors making categorical statements, that is inflammatory. Now, it appears that police is helpless in this respect, because of course, if you have listened to some of the spokespersons of a presidential candidate, some point themselves to the language that we use. What is the best approach to it? Legally speaking, what can be done to such persons, to see how we can stem the tide of further, polluting our political space?
To tell you the truth, I am a very sad participant in politics these days. Sad because we have a regime or spokespersons that take advantage of their appointments to talk about themselves, not the party candidates they are representing, not the issues that the party or the candidate represents. It's so embarrassing to see how spokespersons are throwing mud at each other. You are not appointed to talk about yourselves, for God's sake. You are appointed to speak for the political party or for the candidate. A situation where people begin to talk about that people, grown-up men, come on the streets through the social media to watch their dirty linens for everybody to see. That was not the purpose or intent of your appointment as a spokesperson. Now, the other angle to this whole issue is that INEC apparently helpless because the Electoral Act who overreach themselves in their assignment or in their work. You cannot, using your position as a sitting governor, for instance, to prevent people, other political parties, from holding their rallies in places where they choose. You cannot, under the Electoral Act, begin to impose fees that did not exist before now on stadia, public utilities, and stop other political parties or political persons that